good evening, and here we are again, the time for the English news. Let's take a look of our major stories. The strengthening of the Army's health capacities. And at the international level, U.S. Special Forces participate in Africa exercise.
Those were the top stories, and thank you for joining us here on RTD's newsroom. The Minister of Labour in charge of the administration reforms, Abdi Hussein Ahmed, has received in his office a large delegation composed of experts from the Islamic Development Bank and the African Development Bank, led by the health economist Mr. Badian. The main purpose of this meeting was to finalize on the construction project of an hospital for the National Social Security Fund. This hospital, with a capacity of 150 beds, will be financed by the Islamic Development Bank and the African Development Bank respectively, due to $8 million for African Development Bank and $37 million for the Islamic Bank. This structure will allow the National Security Fund to provide a technical platform of specialized care delivery that currently the country is lacking of. The hospital will also reduce the need for care and evacuation abroad. The meeting, let's not forget that the meeting was attended by the General Secretary Abdullah Mohammed Ali and the Minister of Communication Advisor.
The inauguration of a new military central direction has seen delay this morning under the leadership of the Defense Minister and the General of the Armed Staff, Major General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. Let's take a look at this information.
An important ceremony of the Central Management of Military Health Service has been held this morning under the leadership of the Defense Minister, Mr. Hassan Darar Houfani. This event has brought together the Ministry of Defense, the General Chief of Staff of the Armed Force, Major General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, the Central Health Service Director, Dr. Colonel Ahmed Hassan Boulale, Commander of the Republican Guard, Colonel Mohammed Jama' Duali, General Director of the National Police, Colonel Abdullahi Abdi Farah, the Commanding Officer, Commander and Director of this training. This medical center, which was inaugurated this morning, has its own resource and will be responsible for the full autonomy to design, plan and guide the health service of our defense force. In his speech, the Defense Minister Hassan Darar Houfani has paid tribute to the two police who found death at the Lak Asad post. In these painful circumstances, the minister express his sincere condolences to the family and relatives of these men. A minute of silence was observed. The Defense Minister Hassan Darar said that this central will manage men and qualified women officers, non-commissioned member and officers, but it will be carrying the equipment and infrastructure available to the health service armies. According to the Dr. Colonel Ahmed Hassan Boulale, this medical center will be responsible for the military medical cover and necessary tools, which will finance partly the health of our soldiers. After the ceremony, the Minister of Defense, along with the General Chief of Staff of the Armed Force, Major General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, and the Director of the Central Health Service, Dr. Colonel Ahmed Hassan Boulale, officially inaugurated this central by unveiling the commemorative plaque of the institution. This has been followed by a tour of the different departments that makes the local of the building. It should be noted finally that the management of this central includes health services of the Djiboutian Armed Force, the police and the Republican Guard.
This new military direction opened this morning come at a time where a new building for military will be inaugurated tomorrow by the head of state. Let's watch the following video for more informations.
The Central Management for the Military Health Service has been created within the Department of Defense under the Ministry of Defense. This department's mission is to keep the numbers provided applying by rules of hygiene studies, to ensure the treatments to the sick and injured persons and their families, to provide assistance to all medical missions requested by the government plan, and perform the training of personal staff. The Military Health Service Central Management is run by a doctor with the rank of senior officer officer appointed by a presidential decree on the proposal of the Ministry of Defense and the opinion of the General Chief of Staff of the Armed Force. The Military Health Service Central Management has the authority over bodies such as the management of the army hospitals, in other words, the Djibouti Sudan Military Hospital, the management of medicine units, health products supply, and the Social Affairs Directorate. This inauguration will be preceded by the historic and solemn opening ceremony of the first military hospital by the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, which will be held tomorrow.
The relations between the Republic of Djibouti and the Republic of Sudan are entangled within the relations of their ageless bilateral cooperation in every field, and more precisely the military areas. We'll see the next video with more details.
In the framework of the military bilateral cooperation between the Republic of Djibouti and the Republic of Sudan, several Djiboutian students, officers continue their training in certain military fields in the faculties of the engineering and medicine in Kariri Military University. The Djiboutian national television team, in their recent trip in Sudan, has prepared this report which highlights the situations of the Djiboutian officers in Sudan. The main idea of creating Kariri Technological Academy that has become the Kariri University later in 1999, this idea occurred to respond to the needs of the Sudanese military force and to support the continuous innovation of the development of the military equipments and the ongoing process, but also the industry in general. The numbers of Djiboutian cadets in Kariri University is 12. 4 of them received military trainings and 7 of them follow training in various specialties such as medicine, engineering, and so on. The duration of the training is from 2 years to 5 years. The military university hosts also cadets from countries such as Kuwait, Yemen, Chad, and Somalia. The Djiboutian cadets spend their weekend in the building that has been taken in charge by the Djiboutian government, according to the Djiboutian ambassador in Sudan, Mr. Ahmed Barre. The two countries have joined their common effort to strengthen cooperation and coordination between their two military institutions. The Republic of Djibouti and the Republic of Sudan maintain good cooperation relation in all fields, especially in the military cooperation. Indeed, a delegation will take part of the official inauguration ceremony of the Djibouti Sudanese Military Hospital, which has been funded by this country. This initiative reflects the commitment of both leaders to further strengthen the military and health cooperation between Djibouti and Khartoum. The Djiboutian officers have expressed their satisfaction to continue their military studies in Kariri University, which has several faculties such as the Military Technological of Maritime Faculty, Marine Technology, and other institutes and research centers. We are grateful to the Supreme Chief of the Armed Force and Head of State, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, and the Djiboutian Chief of Staff of the Armed Force and the Djiboutian Ambassador in Sudan to their commitment to our training.
Still concerning the Sudanese capital Khartoum, these last years Sudan has recorded development very important in the field of construction and of urbanism. A team of the Radio Television of Djibouti visited Khartoum, the Sudanese capital, to witness the state's fact and the level of development. It goes either that urban development reflects the state of growth of a country, and in particular Sudan. Other domain and other processing in Sudan, the establishment of a new road infrastructure, the development of the road network is playing a vital role in the field of urbanism. Among the great achievements in the Sudan, the establishment of the road access known as Shari al-Nil, which responds by its structure to the international standard. Let's not forget that this highway Shari al-Nil is sprinkled on these shores by sites and historic tourist destinations. It should be noted also that the majority of offices, administrative and buildings housing the various ministerial departments, as well the former presidential palace are installed on both sides from the national road. The capital of Khartoum is one of the cities, the equator of the Sudanese campuses, a significant flank of the Sudanese population, without forgetting that the most beautiful places, buildings, hotels, road access, as well the financial and commercial infrastructure are located here in Khartoum. It should also be noted that the road styling in Shari al-Nil is one of the most important of the national roads and are located around the financial businesses such as the Bank of Dubai, the Bank of Development, and the luxury hotels of international standards.
In the chapter of the ties between the Djiboutian people and the Sudanese, the Djiboutian community of Sudanese origin figure highly in Djibouti. Living a testimony of the historical bonds between the two countries, the Djiboutians of Sudanese origin are an integral part of the Djiboutians. Well integrated in the population, the Djibouti Sudanese works in the private sector as in the public, just like any other Djiboutian. A team of the RTD went to meet these Djiboutians of Sudanese origin who are born and live in Djibouti since 3 or 4 generations. It has been an opportunity for them to reaffirm their support for the President of the Republic, Ismail Margele, in his 2016 candidacy.
Still on the national news, the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources has organized this morning at the People's Palace a workshop on the energy transition in Djibouti. This workshop has been held in the presence of the Energy Ministry Secretary General Abu Bakr Hussein Douali, the General Secretary of the Environment Ministry Dina Abdullah Umar, as well international experts. In addition to the Secretaries Generals, this workshop was held in the presence of other prominent personalities of the two departments. Moreover, it's in this framework of implementing the activities of the project entitled Global Alliance Against Climate Change in Djibouti, which is also a response to the climate change in the energy and water sector. Funded by the delegation of the European Union, the objective of this project is to develop an institutional framework favorable in the mitigation of climate change and to acquire a practical experience to the adaptations.
The young people of Belbele Commune have organized a second gathering in support of President Gele. They were previously affiliated with the opposition party of the Union for National Salute, USN. Let's watch this video for details. The youth of Belbele have organized for the second time a large gathering, mainly composed of young people, this time in the complex of Al-Rahma. This huge meeting intends to be a strong expression of support for the renewal of President Ismail Margele candidature to the Supreme Magistrature. The next presidential election is fixed to April 8. This day has been marked by songs and folk dances. A ceremony rich in colors through which the youth of Belbele have wanted to demonstrate their determination to save in priority the interests of the country in its stability as well as its social cohesion. The ceremony has seen the participation of many young people from this commune. At their head, the President of Belbele's youth, Mr. Kahin Ahmed. The ceremony in support of the head of state, Ismail Margele, has been opened by the reading of the Holy Quran. The national anthem has also been raised and resumed in chorus by the present public. After the national anthem, a series of interventions took place where the young people have in turn taken the floor to express freely their choice and their position to the approach of an important election.
EMB baan taageernay EMB waxaan ku taageernay horumarka madaxweynaha uu gaarsiiyay wadanka iyaan ku taageernay iminkana waan daba joognaa maadaga afraad iyo in ka badanba waan daba joognaa waan taageersanahay noo hayaaba baan leenahay
annagu waxaan ahayn xisbiyadii isku tagahay ESN loranay waxa aan ku soo jiray muddo 9 sano ah jiibe ka abuurantay ESN tu gabigeeguba xisbiyada kale har ma lahaynba meelay har galaanba ma lahayn waxa aan ilaahay muddo 9 sano yaa sheeda ka caroonay waa run waxaan inii sheegay rag baa deenna hoday oo been naga sheegay oo iska dhigay dadkii bulshada midaynayay dadkii xisbiyada isku tagga ESM bay la baxeen allah u naxariistay marxuumkii Ismaaciil Geedi kama dambeyn EDG iyo ESM ba anigu waxa aan indhahayga ku arkay deebida intay bida ku onan bay bida ku tiraahday intay naga soo warwareegin ayaan inaan ka soo warwareegno aan damacnay waxaan niga leeyahay annagu dawladda isma diidin iyo xukuumadda kursina kama doonaynday dibitee iyo madaxtinimada ugama baahneen laakiin waxa aan halkan ka cadaynaya halkan waxa fadhiya barzaangi MJOda waxa weeyaan waxa aan ku midownay magacan ESM bay ahayd waxa aan garanay iyagu inay habeen naga hoos baxaan iyay garteen annaguna waxaan halkan darar ka cadaynaynaa waxaan ka cadaynaynaa inay dawladdu nacafisay horta xukuumadda dadkii dhibay baan ahayn dadkii madaxa u joojiyay baan ahayn dadka soo saarayaan ahayn waar waxaan leenahay dawladdu ha nacafiso waana soo gallay waana soo dhowaanay ha noolaada madaxweynuhu cadowgii ha jabo cimrigiisu ha raago
hambalyaan ku leenahay aabbahooyo mar kale hoggaanka adaa mutee noo hay baan ku leenahay codkeena aan u hibayno diyaar ma u tihiin diyaar baan u nahay talasamo Ismaaciil inuu faqrigu tirtirmo baahidu ay taran go'do adigaa ku taamayoo tahay kaa go'an tahay go'aankaaga tahay taa waxa ka markhaatiya dabba toosoo xadiida tareenku xawli u goyn dariska ku tallaalan Afrika u sii tabaaya adaa taabageliya
composé de toutes les composants de la jeunesse de l'USN de la commune de Balbala. En fait, lors de cette...
In closing these declarations, the president of the youth, Kahin Ahmed, said that he was proud to see as much of youth gathered in this day to demonstrate their commitment to the enlightening policy of the president of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh. He then emphasized that the young people of USN are all supporting their president and candidate, Ismail Omar Guelleh. Let's recall that the demonstrations in support of President Guelleh have multiplied in recent times in the capital, where the civil society will organize similar gatherings.
And now concerning the youth of Barwaco in Asajog City has organized a football game entitled IOJ 2016 to support the official candidacy of the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, to the presidential election in April 2016. This sports event dedicated to support President Guelleh regrouped two teams of Al Sabih, the Barwaco team, and a team from the capital known as SDVK. In an interview given on this occasion, Ifrah Mohammed Jama from the region Al Sabih and among the organizers of the sport day thanked the participants, and she has highlighted that the youth are behind President Guelleh in favor of the April 2016 presidential election, where she said, "Let's vote massively."
Still concerning the support for President Guelleh, the Youth Association for Promoting Education, Sport, and Environment in collaboration with Corto Maltese Hotel has organized an event full of music in Tujara Complex with the primary aim of demonstrating their support to the UMP candidate, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, for a new mandate. Let's bear in mind that this association guides the young people to participate to a better future for the development of their nation. This association thanked Mr. Musa Wali, the manager of the hotel, and the complex manager Mr. Muhammad Ali Ibrahim for their tireless efforts for this event.
In El Sabih now, the prefecture authorities of the regions has conducted cleaning operations all over the city. Cleanup crews proceed to the collection of all waste. As citizens, everyone got involved to keep the city clean. We know that it's with effort that we can keep a healthy urban environment, and should be a matter of positive culture rooted in the collective mentality of the population. The initiative took place under the supervision of the prefect of the region, Mohammed Wabri Asawi, and supported by members of the regional council and some national politicians in the region, determined to fight the proliferation of mosquito vectors of malaria. The prefect officials, in collaboration with certain sectors of the civil society, have rolled up their sleeves to make pleasant the local environment.
The Adim Association has planted 350 palm trees financed by IGAD. This project of planting trees has been carried out in 3 communities, namely Daimoli, Gelato and Wandid, where 700 trees will be planted in these communities. The association recruited some 20 customs and specialized workers ensured by the IGAD to reduce unemployment in these remote communities. Today and from 6 months, the Adim Association operates in these communities and granted works to the jobless people there. The association, as well as the inhabitants, have thanked the IGAD for the project of planting trees in their localities.
In this obituary, we have learned with sadness the dates of the late Muhammad Ali Musa Arre, who was a surgeon of the FMP and more known under his nickname Olad by the Djiboutians. The late surgeon Muhammad Ali Musa Arre has died last February 9 yesterday, married and the father of a daughter. He was 50 years old. The director of the Radio Television of Djibouti and all of its staff are addressing their sincere condolences to Aden Musa Arre and to his entire family, and may the Almighty grant him his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
And now this event without images with the regional news. Speaking at the parliament session, the president of the federal government, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, has called on lawmakers and other government officials not to release arrested Al-Shabaab members from prisons. Security of the country will not be handled if officials don't stop defending and releasing the jailed Al-Shabaab elements. Let the security agencies do their job, said President Mohamud. Mr. Mohamud said Al-Shabaab is the biggest threat of the country's security and called for members of the group held in custody should not be set free by officials in the federal government.
And the Continental News now. U.S. Special Operations Forces will participate in the Flintlock training exercise in Africa later this month. The U.S. Africa Command, known as AFRICOM. Details in this report.
U.S. Special Operation Force alongside African troops at the forefront of counter-terrorism operation on the continent launched their primary training exercise Tuesday in Senegal and Mauritania. The Flintlock exercise includes about 1,700 special operation troops from more than 30 countries, according to U.S. African Command. Among the countries involved are several West African states key to American counterterrorism efforts in Africa, such as Cameroon, Chad, and Nigeria, which all are involved in battling the Islamic militant group Boko Haram operating in northern Nigeria. The exercise does not have a specific foe in mind, but rather aims to improve tactics and cooperating among regional militaries, according to AFRICOM. Platforms like Flintlock provide a unique opportunity to enhance regional coordination and address common challenges among participating nations, AFRICOM said in a release.
Dealing with the migration crisis, Turkey and Germany have agreed on a plan to ease refugees crisis. The steps unveiled during Merkel's visit include push to halt assault on the Syrian city of Aleppo and curb illegal migration. Let's listen for more details.
Turkey and Germany have agreed on a set of measures to deal with the Syrian refugee crisis, including a joint diplomatic initiative aiming to halt attacks against Aleppo, Syria's largest city. Officials from the two countries announced on Monday in Ankara that they also pushed to curb what they called illegal immigration. German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who was in the Turkish capital for talks on how to reduce the inflow of refugees into Europe, said after discussion with the Turkish Prime Minister that she was not just appalled but horrified by the suffering caused by Russian bombing in Syria. Merkel said Turkey and Germany will push at the United Nations for everyone to keep on a UN resolution passed in December that called on all sides to halt without delay attacks on the civilian population. Davutoglu, for his part, said the cities of Aleppo was de facto under siege. We are on the verge of a human tragedy. This will make the lives of refugees more difficult. The Germany-Turkey talks comes as tens of thousands of Syrians remain stranded at the borders with Turkey after fleeing the Russia-backed government offensive in Aleppo.
And at last, to close up this English news edition with no images, the United Arab Emirates announced to create Minister for Happiness. Prime Minister announced via Twitter privatization of government services and creation of new ministerial positions. The Prime Minister of the United Arab Emirates has announced that the country will privatize some government services as well as create a state minister position devoted to ensuring the happiness of its citizens. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, who is also the ruler of Dubai, made the comments on Twitter after appearing at the World Government Summit being hosted by the Emirates. That's it for tonight's news. Thank you for being with us. More headlines coming up tomorrow at the same time on the Sun Channel.